Want to level up your coffee game? The secret to cafe-quality coffee at home starts with the right grinder. In this video, we review the 5 best coffee grinders of 2025, perfect for drip, pour-over, French press, espresso, and more. Okay guys, let's watch top 5 coffee grinders honest review.
Number 5. If you brew coffee using methods like pour-over, French press, and AeroPress, you should consider the Eureka Mignon Filtro coffee grinder. Matthew Kong, editor of Eater LA, likes it even more than the similarly priced Baratza because he says it has better grind consistency, though it only mills on the coarser end of the spectrum, so it's not suitable for espresso. But the grinder is strong, durable, and powerful, Kong says, wasting through whole bags of coffee at a time if needed with its bigger-than-average 50mm flat burrs. Kong does note that the machine only has a small dial to change the grind setting, and a tiny button on the bottom to start the grinder without any timers. But he also says that doesn't matter, in the end, the beans will be ground more consistently, resulting in better-tasting coffee. This grinder certainly makes some noise. It's quite a reasonable level, especially for this price point, as the pro testing it points out.
Number 4.
More recently, fellow Opus Conical Burr Grinder introduced a second grinder to its lineup. It's a more affordable model strategist writer Kat Gillespie has been using for over 6 months now. As with the Ode, the aesthetic is undeniably part of the appeal. It's more like a design object than my old Baratza, she says. It's really very impressive looking on any counter, even my NYC landlord special one. The Opus costs less because it has a plastic body, instead of aluminum, and conical blades, instead of flat, that don't require as powerful a motor to cut through the beans. While the new model allows for a wider range of grind sizes, it delivers a bit less consistency, so if you're brewing for coffee, you might lose some of the nuance and depth that the Ode delivers. Still, for the average person, it works just fine, says Gillespie, who uses hers for AeroPress or French press every morning with great results. She says she especially appreciates how easy the machine is to grind for a single cup. The lid doubles as a volumetric measuring device, so instead of having to weigh out beans each time, as the Opus requires, she simply fills to a specific marking.
Number 3.
I've been using the Baratza Encore Electric Grinder for a year now, and I love it. It's one of the tools that has convinced me to up my at-home coffee game. The machine is super intuitive to use, and initially took me no more than 5 minutes to set up and get a handle of. There are 2 simple switches, on and off, and a dial to choose from 41 grind settings, numbered 0 to 40. Mine generally stays between 25 and 30 to work with my standard coffee machine, but I've used the smallest setting for espresso, notoriously difficult to get as fine of a grind as you need, with no problem. And the subtleties between all the sizes are very apparent. You can make minute adjustments if you're dedicated to landing on exactly what will yield the best cup for your particular coffee brewing method. It takes a couple of rounds to grind a full bag of beans, how I do it, as opposed to per serving, but works quickly at about a minute per turn. In general, my biggest qualm with coffee grinders is the mess they make, but this one has nicely angled sides on the grind chamber that allow for relatively neat pouring. And it's easy to disassemble, clean, and reassemble the detachable parts before I store it. As a brand, Baratza came up in my reporting more often than any other. Some favor its higher-end models, more on a couple of those below, but several of the coffee aficionados I spoke with recommended this more affordable option, highlighting its quality performance and solid build, especially for the price. It's super consistent, Leroux says. Elliot Foose, director of coffee at Day Moves in Brooklyn, told us that he used the Encore at work when he previously ran the coffee shop attached to the first iteration of Chef Flynn McGarry's Lower East Side restaurant Gem. It's intuitive and performs wonderfully, he says. While he acknowledges it can be a little loud, or a touch chatty, in his words, Foose says that's to be expected for a grinder made of plastic and designed for the home. And Umberto Ricardo, founder of Third Rail Coffee, adds that Baratza machines are designed to be repaired instead of thrown away should something break, which is good for my wallet and for the planet. And speaking of repairs, Pratt noted Baratza's great customer service. When you have to replace the burrs every few years, they make it incredibly easy to do so, he says.
Number 2.
I'm not obsessive about weighing my coffee, I measure by scoops. But for those who are, this Opus Conical Burr coffee grinder model makes it easy, and as Schlater points out, it cuts down on the equipment you need. You add your beans to the hopper and select from 15 grind sizes. From there, you set the machine to weigh the ground coffee one of 3 ways, manually so you have full control, by grams, great for espresso and pour over, or by the number of cups of water you brew in a standard electric maker, what I tested since I use my Bonavita machine every morning. In this last setup, it allots for 8 grams of ground coffee per cup, though you can also adjust that by a couple of ounces in either direction by sliding a notch at the front. Once everything is set, you simply press the knob on the front and it spits out the exact amount of grounds you need to brew. It's an incredibly thoughtful product, Schlater says. The only downside I found is the small gap between the dispenser and the opening of the jar that collects the coffee. Some grounds spurt out and onto the counter during grinding. To be fair, most grinders make a bit of a mess, but it was enough that it feels worth noting. At the end, the stainless steel body wipes up easily and cleanly, and I would say it's not so annoying as to deter from the overall convenience of using this unit. If you're interested in this OXO grinder but don't need an integrated scale, recipe developer and cookbook author Salma Dada recommends this model. I've had other grinders that gave me grief with error messages for no reason or inconsistent grounds, she says. But in the couple of years she's owned it, she says this one has not failed me yet even with daily use. She also says she appreciates that the hopper is UV blocking, so leaving whole beans in there won't age them, and that it comes off the top of the machine very easily to rinse clean.
Number 1.
The Baratza Virtuoso plus Conical Burr coffee grinder allows you to be more hands-off with its operation, thanks to its timer. You can set it to grind for a specific time, turn it on, walk away, and return to beans that are never overground. The Encore, by contrast, must be stopped and started manually. Otherwise, it is a bit of a general step up from the Baratza Encore, too, with stronger blades that are able to get a slightly finer grind for espresso. You can see a good demonstration in this video. If one or both of those attributes appeal, I think it's worth the extra $50. 4 of our baristas praised this model. Ricardo also notes that it's fast and relatively quiet. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe my channel, press the bell icon and comment below.